Hey everyone, welcome back to Installation 00. Welcome to my bare office. It doesn't quite have the same ambience, does it? A little bit more light. It doesn't give it much depth, but hey, it's worth a shot. Yes, please excuse the apologies. Please excuse the bare appearance of my office. I am literally moving house tomorrow. So, yeah, that's a thing. How are we all? Hello, Divine. Hello, 33rd from Finland. How you doing? Martin, how you doing? It's just not the same backdrop, is it? Not okay. Hang on. There you go. We'll at least have the Creator Award on show. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I thought I'd pop on as, well, the last live stream in this property. Because, like I said, tomorrow morning I move house. I found out from the removal firm that we are moving tomorrow about 4 hours ago. Luckily, we're already like in the swing of packing. But, yeah, it's been a scramble. But, yeah. It's kind of barren. It is, yeah. A little... And I'm not even going to show you over there, because that's just... Over here is just chaos. You don't need to be seeing that. Most of us are better. We don't need to move tomorrow. Fair comment. Fair comment. Well, like I say, there's been a whole lot going on, like, private life-wise. Particularly if you're in the Discord, because I made my struggles a little bit more public in the Discord than I did anywhere else. So if you're from the Discord, you'll know all about all the fun that I've been through over the past 4 weeks. So, yeah. Yeah, the new place is nice. The new place is really nice. It's gonna... What the hell is going on here? Yeah, the new place is really nice. It's a little bigger, which is nice. A little more expensive, not so nice. And I get to... I mean, this is a converted garage, so I actually get to be in the house again, in the warm, which is great. You know, I don't need the oil heater anymore. That's a win. So yeah, it's going to be chaos for another couple of days until and then I'll finally get back into the groove of doing content. I still need to fold this part of the office up. I mean, I've still got both screens going, the computer's still going, the surround sound's still going, the Xbox is still going. All of that needs to be torn down tomorrow morning. The desk needs to be torn down and stuck on the van. So there's a lot left to do. There is a lot left to do. Hey Timo, how you doing, bud? Life is... Yeah. But yeah, I wanted to pop on and let you guys know what's going on with me, but also kind of recap, so to speak, my recent travel across the pond and down south onto the southern hemisphere to Brazil. 5Cube, you're Brazilian, you love my content. What do you think of Brazil? It was beautiful, genuinely beautiful, really beautiful country. Sao Paulo is a lovely city as well. So yeah, I wanted to kind of get on and talk to you guys about sort of my experience and what it was like, what was it like building up to it, kind of some of the things I got up to, and then the journey back and what's next, so to speak. I wanted to kind of give you guys the chance to get a little look behind the curtain in my void of a workspace. But You're doing good, all things considered. Good. Glad to hear it, bud. Glad to hear it. With a voice like yours, I feel like you should be the next Halo announcer. That would be cool. Killionaire. Double kill. It's apple juice. Okay. Avoid demonetization. Apple juice. Okay. We good? So yeah. So yeah, as you know, like, or particularly for the people in the Discord, will know, on a couple of weeks ago, I was on track to purchase this house, and I was going to be attending the Halo Europa event in Blackpool, which would have been phenomenal had I have made it. The day before, I got my car I put my car through a health check to make sure it could make the journey, and it came back that it couldn't, and that it had some glaring issues that would need repair, which meant I had to cancel the Blackpool trip. That sucked. And the costs, once I got it fully costed out, the cost of doing those repairs were more than the vehicle was worth. So the only option I had really was to sell that car, scrap that car, and buy another one. The problem there being is that I had to dip into the money I would saved for the deposit for this house in order to do that. I can't not be mobile. Excuse me. The apple juice is fizzy. Yeah, I can't not be mobile. My family, I need to be able to ferry them to and from wherever they need to be. So that unfortunately popped the bubble of plans for buying this place. I reached out to the landlord and explained that I'm really sorry. This is cropped up. We're not able to do it right now, but if you can hang on until maybe April, I'll be able to recoup that money and we'll be able to progress from there. Fortunately, that wasn't on the cards. The landlord decided, no, I want to sell. So we were issued with a Section 21, which is, here in the UK, that's basically a repossession order. Not ideal, but it gives me like 2 months to be at the property. So then everything was in chaos. So I needed a new car, managed to get a new car. There have been further complications with that, which I can't talk about at the moment because there's probably going to be legal proceedings involved. So I'm not going to talk about that. And yeah, we had to find a new house as well. As it is, we found a new house. That's great. But like I said, about 3 or 4 days after this happened, I received an email, an invite to attend Sao Paulo, Brazil, by Paramount Plus, which was initially, I mean, I get a lot of emails like this pretty much on the daily. I get like between 6 and 12 emails a day from different people claiming to be from this company, from that company, who want to do this and do that and do this sponsored content. 99.9% of the time it's BS, and I just don't pay attention. On this particular occasion, I paid attention, and it just so happened to be legit. So I went back and forth, conversing about sort of the particulars of this particular trip, and everything was ironed out, and yeah, it was all confirmed. I was to be flown out across the pond to Sao Paulo, Brazil, to attend CCXP 2023, which is the biggest Comic-Con in the world. As in, like, last year, 280,000 people were in attendance, and I can truly believe that's how many people were in attendance this year, if not a little bit more. Seriously packed. So yeah, I was approached. We ironed out the details, but it was confirmed. And then I had this awkward situation of, I've never done this kind of content before. I do this. I don't do necessarily this where I sit in front of a camera and talk, but I'm usually in my office. I've got all of my raw files here. I've got my audio here. I've got my scripts here. I've got everything I need right here. I don't have the equipment to do on-site live capture documentary-esque style content. So I needed somebody who had that kind of equipment to help me out. And it just so happened that when I attended HCS in, when was that, October? Yeah, early to mid-October. I met loads of people, and one person I met was a guy called Simon, who many of you will know as The Domain. And he had camera equipment, and I actually also let him know about Halo Europa in Blackpool. And he attended as well, but obviously then I couldn't attend, so I had to message him and say, sorry man, I'm not going to be there. And then 3 days later, I messaged him out of the blue to say, hey bud, I kind of need your help. Can you come to Brazil with me? And yeah, he was willing and able to jump on board and help me out, which is like I'm infinitely grateful for. Hey Jump Escape, how you doing, buddy? Kicking back to listen to my experience. I wanted to say hello. Hey buddy. So yeah, he was happy to jump on board and help me out, and he bought all of his cameras, all of his gear, his tripods, the lot, and we had a plan. So yeah, then it was basically time to go, and yeah, installation zeros are in The Domain working together. Yep, yes indeed. So we met at Heathrow Terminal 3 for a flight out at, what time was it? About 8 or 9 at night. I think about 8 or 9 at night on LATAM Airlines to fly, yeah, across the Atlantic and down south to Sao Paulo, Brazil. And after a 12-hour flight with some very generous legroom, consider I'm 6'4", I kind of needed it. We landed in Sao Paulo, Brazil at 5 in the morning local time, which was rough because I didn't sleep very well on the flight. I never do. And it wasn't the hotel we were staying at didn't allow check-in until about 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So I had to, fully fatigued and worn out, had to find some way to waste time between 5 a.m. and 2 p.m. which, that was a thing. Which is why any footage you'll see, and there is that, I have so much footage, so much content that I'm working through and developing and figuring out how I'm going to contextualize it and like really present it properly to give it justice. But you'll see quite clearly on the sort of the first clips on the first day, I am knackered, and you can see it. I mean, I'm tired now, but you can really see how tired I was on day one. And that's the thing as well. The day we arrive at 5 a.m. and in the evening they have the VIP exclusive open evening where kind of VIPs can come in and before any of the members of the public can come in and have a kind of a feel for what's going on and get a lay of the land and this, that, and the other. When I showed up to that with Simon and the rest of the crew, so to speak, there were so many people in attendance. I mean, it's certainly not like the hundreds of thousands, but we're talking. There were easily about maybe 10 to 15,000 people, I would say, on the VIP night, which is staggering. And the venue itself, absolutely ginormous. Like this building, it's hard to get across how big this building is. But if you stand at one end of it and look all the way down the other end of the building, you can see the atmosphere. As in, you can see a noticeable haze of you looking through air, which is kind of terrifying that there are buildings that big. But you always look great, 00. Thank you very much. So this building was absolutely and utterly huge, and we walked through into the building, and we sort of navigated around, and we made our way to the Paramount Plus booth, being the reason we were sent out there. And this booth is huge. Then they've got multiple things set up. They've got stuff for like Star Trek set up. They've got Drag Race Brazil. They've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, SpongeBob SquarePants, because they managed to somehow sign a deal for SpongeBob SquarePants to be on Paramount Plus. So yeah, there was so much going on, but the lion's share of this booth was dedicated to Halo. And are we getting lag, are we? Not ideal. 1 second. One sec. Make sure I'm not backing anything up or anything. Which is entirely possible. I tell you what, I'll quit out of that. That's all synced, so I don't need to worry about that. Sorry, bear with me 1 second, guys. Yeah, we can discard that for now. I think that's most of the things closed down. It's probably just I've got so many tabs open here. Really sorry, guys. Bear with. No. I'm one of those people. I open hundreds of tabs and just never remember to close them. There we go. So that is pretty much everything closed down now. So if it's still laggy, I apologise. Hopefully it will steady up a little bit. Yeah, hopefully it'll steady up a little bit. So, where was I? Where did I get to? Where did I get to? VIP night. VIP night. So yeah, we had a look around at this the Paramount Plus booth and had a look at the actual Halo activation. Like it was like the Halo part of the booth was like more than half of the booth, and the booth was huge. And we had a look at what they had laid out, and yeah, you start. I mean, you queue on the other days when all the public were there. Those queues were 4 hours long. No joke, 4 hours long. So you queue up and then you start off with some target practice with some like little Nerf gun blasters. It would have been nice if, because they had just like kind of generic Nerf gun blasters. It would have been nice if they had like the likes of like the Halo Nerfs, you know. It would have been nice to have, you know, an AR at the start, or even like the Bulldog. I've resprayed this one, but that would have been quite a nice touch, because there's no reason that they couldn't. I'm sure the budget could have stretched far enough to do that. But that would have been cool, but unfortunately it was just kind of generic, you know, cock and fire Nerf blasters. But you know, it's fine. It's fine. It was still fun, and like I say, you've got 4 targets laid out of a couple of elites, a grunt, and I think a jackal. Yeah, you test your aim, and Simon was infuriated that I was better at it than he was. It doesn't translate to in-game. In-game, I'm crap. How's the moving situation? We're getting there. We're moving tomorrow, 10 a.m. As you can tell, the office has been stripped out, and this is all to go now. After I finish this live, I'm on for about an hour, a little bit over an hour. This all gets torn down and sorted for tomorrow, so I'm not settling down early tonight. Yeah, I know, right? The Halo booth didn't have the Halo Nerf guns, bruh moment. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it would have been cool, wouldn't it? Like to have like 4 of these just like lined up on the. I mean, I know these ones are they're motorized, and they fire. Sorry, they fire the Nerf darts. It would have been kind of cool, but alas, it is what it is. It was still cool. It was still fun. Anyway, after doing the target practice, you then move across to a set of doors, and the doors open and you move through, and then you get Cortana kind of give you the mission debrief. I'd love to tell you what that Cortana said, but of course I was in Brazil, which meant that particular Cortana spoke Portuguese, or Brazilian Portuguese. So I didn't understand basically any of it. So I'll have to leave it to anybody who's in attendance who was Portuguese or Brazilian to translate, because I haven't got a clue. But she gives you a mission debrief, and then a couple of the attendants who are in that kind of that first room with you, dressed up in kind of UNSC garb, armor you up. So they give you like a chest plate with a laser receiver on it, and they give you like a helmet. You can, if you want, you can mount your phone into it and record first person perspective. I think Zach recorded some first person perspective. So Zach is one of the guys with Eckhart's Ladder, which is kind of cool. I was hoping that I was actually going to meet Justin, the Eckhart's Ladder, at the event, because obviously it was him who kicked my channel off in the first place. You know, when we had our collaboration all those years back, when I did the Pillar of Autumn most detailed breakdown, I had 767 subscribers, and yet he knew about me. And then we had our collaboration, and then, you know, huge amounts of subscribers rolled in, and, you know, got me monetized and allowed me to be in the position I am now that much quicker. So it would have been awesome to meet Justin, but due to some family commitments, he wasn't there. But he did send Zach, and Zach's awesome guy, really nice, really down to earth, and we hit it off, and yeah, it was great. So yeah, you can mount your phone, record first person perspective of what's going on. And then you're let through to the next area, and the next area is set up with some more targets for target practice, but this time you actually have like laser guns. They're quite heavy as well, like proper, like almost carbine looking laser guns. And I don't mean like the Halo carbine, I mean like conventional carbine kind of rifles. So yeah, then you get a little bit more Brazilian Cortana walking you through stuff, and then you're let loose, and you do your target practice, and you know, kind of hone your skills and hit their little laser receivers. This is all preparing you for what comes next. Hey Spartan, how you doing, bud? So yeah, this is preparing you for what came next. The next room, there were between 2 and 4 other guys. The story is that they're UNSC soldiers. You know, you're training. It's like a firefight kind of training sim almost. And they're hidden at the back of this particular area, behind boxes and barriers and stuff like that. And there's only two boxes for up to a 4-man team on your side to hide behind on this side. And the goal is basically, to take as many of them down as you can. And depending on how many of them you manage to take down and how many hits you take yourself, translates to your performance. And ultimately, depending on how you perform, once that particular part of the training is completed, you put your rifles down, you exit into like a holding room, and then back out into the outside of the booth, where you're presented with whatever reward you manage to score based on your performance. So they're really quite cool badges that you can score. So it's the normal shield, the heroic shield, and then the legendary shield with the elite skull, and they're little like pin badges. They're really quite cool, good quality, and you'll give them one based on how well you did. Then you can go around. You can do like the Kai lift, you know, that big like tank that she lifts in season 1. You can get a photo op doing that, and you can also pose with either Kai or the Master Chief for a photo. And there was also a local artist called Butcher Billy, who had designed a poster, which I think. Let me bring out here. I might have brought it out here. Or not. No, I didn't. Damn it. Thought I brought it out here. Poor preparation on my part. He designed a poster, like a completely original work for that event exclusively, and he signs it, and yeah, you get that as a reward as well. And that's kind of the whole Paramount booth kind of thing going on. I mean, there's other things going on, obviously, with Star Trek and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You can do like a kind of a bit like a Fruit Ninja thing, but with pizza instead. The Star Trek booth actually has the captain's chair from the show, which is kind of cool. And you can practice like boxing with like a Anderson Spider Silver booth. That was quite cool. And they also had Drag Race Brazil, which is evidently a huge thing. Along with a reality TV set for a Brazilian show. I'm not entirely familiar with it, but that's not surprising really. Like I said, the main focus for me was Halo. Obviously, it was going to be. On that VIP night, I actually had a little wander up to the Xbox booth, and although we were technically the Xbox booth was having its own kind of thing, its own little like VIP event, invite only, and we weren't invited. But although we weren't invited, we managed to wrangle our way in, and convince them that we needed to be in this exclusive event. Mainly because we knew that Pablo Schreiber, the actor for the Master Chief, was in the Xbox era, which is I found kind of peculiar, and I hope like Xbox, Pablo, Paramount don't mind me saying. So I'd been sent there to cover the Halo show, season 1, and then obviously, as we now know, the reveal of season 2. And it was odd that Pablo Schreiber, the main actor for the TV show, kind of owned and administrated by Paramount Plus, was at the Xbox booth and not the Paramount booth. It just, I don't know, it threw me a little bit. But yeah, we were made aware that Pablo was in the Xbox booth, so we kind of wrangled our way in to try to corner him in his in not so many words. Unfortunately, we just missed him. Like he just finished up sort of walking around the booth and the Xbox booth and greeting fans and signing stuff, and he was ushered off into the back areas just as we got in. So we kind of missed him on that one. But there was hope that we would cross paths again later on over the following couple of days. Are we getting an interview with Pablo? Right, so I'll say now, me and Pablo didn't quite manage to cross paths on this trip, which is really it's I understand why we couldn't. There was a lot going on. There was supposed to be an event or a part of the event on the final day, where me and a couple of the other content creators who had been invited out, we're going to go through that battle simulation on the Halo booth again. And when we come out the other side to be presented with our award, Pablo and Joseph Morgan and Kiki Wolfkill and the showrunner, I can't remember his name. Why can't I remember his name? Sorry, there's just so much going on in my head right now, not just with CCXP, but moving and everything. I can't remember his name right now. I'm sure someone will pop it in the chat. But they were going to be there to present you with the award, and that was kind of a semi-organic but semi-orchestrated kind of thing that was going to take place. Unfortunately, there were so many people in attendance, and people were going wild, and I mean wild, for Pablo and Joseph Morgan. So it was mad. They were worried. They were worried about security, about getting Pablo, Kiki, Joseph Morgan, and forgive me, the showrunner, I can't remember his name, from the omelette stage, which is kind of like a secondary stage right up the other end of the convention hall, to the Paramount booth, without them getting just swamped. So there were security concerns, and unfortunately they kind of had to say, no, sorry, we can't do this. It's too dangerous. There's too much at risk. We're not going to do it. So I completely understand why those choices were made. I was a little bit upset or a little bit disappointed, because it would have been nice to actually finally meet Pablo. I mean, me and him have been kind of throwing messages back and forth for quite a while now, and it would have been great to actually touch base and talk face to face. But there's still time, and I'll get onto that in a minute. As it was, I was actually even Kiki Wolfkill pinged me a message that evening. Was it that evening? A little bit later that evening, yeah. Just saying, like, really sorry that we couldn't get down, and security concerns, everything was a bit mad, and I completely get it. It's fine. Anyway, I'm jumping ahead here. So yeah, in either case, VIP night more or less wrapped up with me and Simon recording a load of B-roll and a load of other bits and pieces around the Paramount booth, and then wrapping up for the evening and going back to the hotel. At this point, I was knackered, because bearing in mind I hadn't slept very well on the flight, and I'd been basically on the go since 5 a.m. that morning, local time, until, what time did we get back to the hotel? Like 9, I think. 9 at night, 10 at night. So at that point, I was like, I just wanted to sleep. That's all I wanted to do. A couple of the guys went out and like got some food, and that was cool. But for me, my thoughts were with my pillow. So I went straight up to the hotel and I just crashed out. Following morning was the first publicly open day of CCXP 2023, and my God, it was busy. There were so many people. It was just absolutely and utterly heaving. And it genuinely, it just got busier and busier and busier as each day progressed. I don't think I've ever seen that many people in one place before. Just incredible. And again, for us, kind of day 2, day 3, and day 4 was more or less the same. Like, we would go into the event, we'd film some B-roll, we'd film some interview, or like some me talking to the camera, and some recaps and things like that. We'd film sort of whatever we could, and just max out as much content as we could, so we have as large of a cross section of content to pull from. And then I believe it was the 4th day that Paramount Plus had their special presentation on the Thunder stage. So we were ushered through to the Thunder stage into like a VIP section, and watched kind of the things that Paramount were presenting, so to speak, at CCXP, like a full exploration, so to speak, of what they had going on, which included a few panels, one with like the Star Trek cast, with a couple of TV shows that have disappeared. I think part of Nickelodeon. I can't recall exactly, because again, my thoughts were with Halo, and like I say, the Thunder stage, which holds, I think, just eyeballing it, between 3,000 and 5,000 people, erupted when Halo was announced, and Pablo and Joseph Morgan came up out onto the stage. There's one, I remember, there's one woman right down the front of the crowd with a sign that got the attention of one of the cameras, and she was in literal floods of tears of excitement of being able to meet Joseph Morgan in person, which was just like such a wholesome moment. It's really nice to see. But yeah, this Thunder stage erupted, and then they had a bit of a panel and like a kind of a selfie moment, and this, that, and the other, and then the teaser dropped, and we whipped out cameras as quick as we could and set up haphazardly to get a reaction, which is now live. I think my reaction to that is live, and it's completely raw. I had no forewarning about this teaser. I didn't know what, I hadn't seen it beforehand. I didn't know what to expect. So what you see in my reaction is my raw reaction to seeing it for the first time, and it's so much happening all at once. It's difficult to really fully articulate kind of in the moment, like what I was feeling, what I was thinking about the suggested story for season 2. In either case, again, likelihood is you guys have probably seen the trailer, or the teaser for season 2, and I don't know about your opinions on it, but my opinions of it, I mean, it's it's definitely covering the fall of Reach, which is, as we all know, a pivotal moment in the Halo franchise. No matter what timeline you want to take it from, that is a pivotal moment in the universe. And personally, I mean, the stylization of it, the graphics, the visual effects, the tone, the grittiness the desperation, those little like fragmented heroic moments where you see like the chief like physically body blocking and protecting like a civilian. The little glimmers, the little glimpses of Spartan 3s, which I've suspected for a long time. And just because like Joseph Morgan coming on board as Colonel James Ackerson, we all know from the lore, this, in spite of the fact that it's the silver timeline and not what I've kind of come to call the gold timeline, Colonel James Ackerson is the Spartan 3 program. It's just, he's as much the Spartan 3 program as Kurt is the Spartan 3 program. So, hey Master Chief, how you doing? Will of the Law, hi, big fan. Thank you, Will. Thank you. Good to see you here, buddy. What's next on the what's the next video going to be on? I've got a few more videos planned in, just a kind of a recap, so to speak, of CCXP. They're scheduled in and they should go out automatically while I'm moving. As you can tell, I'm moving house tomorrow, so I'm going to be offline for a few days. I think because of how short notice it was. Like literally, I found out that the removal van was booked and available for tomorrow at 10 a.m. 4 hours ago. So I'm only barely managed to get the internet transferred, and even that's going to be a couple of days late. So forgive me. There's a little bit more content for CCXP and recapping things. Hopefully, once that's all out, and I'm hoping kind of maybe early to midweek next week, I'll be set up enough the other end to get back online with proper content and my usual kind of content. And then I've got loads planned. I've got some detailed breakdowns coming of the season 2 trailer. I've got a couple of most detailed breakdowns lined up. I've got some lore videos lined up for some of the stuff that's coming out with the audiobooks recently, as well as some deeper dives into some small narrative threads that I recalled recently that I feel need a bit of attention. So yeah, there's lots of content lined up, but I'm moving, so I apologise. Just out of curiosity, do you Pablo's personal contacts? Yeah, me and Pablo, I've like messaged back and forth. A few times now. Yeah, I wouldn't say we're like personal contacts. It's not like I can just pick up the phone and go, "Hey Pablo, how you doing? You want to go for a drink?" It's nowhere near that. But yeah, we've pinged messages back and forth a few times. I think, like I said, when season 1 launched, although there are some narrative threads of season 1 that I don't fully understand, and I don't understand why certain choices were made, on the whole, I really liked season 1. I just did. That's it. It's a personal preference. I really quite enjoyed it. I liked the narrative kind of what if take that they had, because, and I've said this a few times before, in the Fall of Reach, the book, Dr. Halsey and Deja have a conversation about the Spartans, and Deja, the AI, suggests selective amnesia. Halsey shuts it down, says no, we're not doing that because that could bleed into other parts of the brain and compromise them. Deja suggests lying to them, claiming that their parents were killed by insurrectionists or by a plague or something like that. Halsey shuts that down and says no, we're not doing that, because if we lie to them and then they find out the truth, they're not going to trust us, and then we'll have super soldiers that hate us. We don't need to be doing that either. And I think she even suggested like hormone regulations to kind of null them down a little bit. And again, Halsey shut it down. In season 1, Halsey did exactly the opposite of all those. She gave them hormone regulation therapy. She gave them selective amnesia, and she lied to them. So I kind of appreciate that kind of what if scenario, so to speak. So yeah, season 1 on the whole I really liked, and I think since I quite liked it. I mean, I don't understand, for example, like Wrath, the human that was kidnapped by the Covenant. First and foremost, the Covenant don't kidnap people; they kill them. That's it. We're vermin to them. So I don't understand that straight away. Second, when I heard the name Wrath, I assumed a jackal because you're on the rubble, and the name Wrath There is a jackal on the rubble called Reth. And then it was just a human. I mean, and he didn't serve the same role as Reth in any capacity. So the argument would be, why even call him Reth? Why not call him George? Well, maybe not George. Graham. I don't know. I don't know. Just call him something else. That didn't make a huge lot of sense to me. Kwan's story, I kind of get it to a degree. I kind of understand that, you know, she has like a Gene song in her family, similar though not identical to to Chuck-Us and Riser, the ancient humans. Chuck-Us became 343 Guilty Spark, as we know, and Riser's family line helped pick that path through Jamonkin Crater to the Didact's cryptum. So Kwan kind of serves a similar role to that. Her family line have got to do certain things in a certain way to gain access to, I assume, that portal that the monitor comes out of. Which, again, I don't entirely understand why that was a thing. In either case, despite all of that, I enjoyed the season 1 altogether anyway. And I think because of that, and because I was bold enough to kind of reach out to Pablo and say, hey, Pablo, would you be open to having a chat, to having an interview? We kind of, you know, he accepted, you know, publicly on Twitter, and we kind of threw a bit of dialogue back and forth a few times to try to iron out the details, but we just couldn't get things to match up with his schedule and my schedule at the time. So we stayed in touch, and, you know, he promised when things sort of wrapped up on the advertising and marketing side of season 1, he promised that, you know, we would definitely have our chat at some point. And so far it hasn't happened, but, you know, it's all stepping in the right direction. We converse back and forth occasionally and try to iron out details. I'm sure at some point soon we'll cross paths, and I will back him into a corner and we'll have our interview. I promise you. Especially now that season 2 it's been revealed, that I've got so many new questions that I want to ask on this kind of new direction. Because I don't know about you guys. I mean, feel free to put in the chat here. I don't know about you guys, but the trailer for season 2, there's something about it, isn't there? It's definitely more gritty. It definitely feels more irrevocably Halo, so to speak. You know, it feels like, and I've said this in a few comments on a few places, that this feels like what perhaps it should have been to start with. And I know I've seen loads of people say, oh, you know, they need to just forget season 1. I'm not bothering with season 2, or they'll say, oh, it needs a reboot, or like a hard reboot, or a soft reboot, or whatever the case may be. Why can't season 2 be that? You know, if you didn't like season 1, I completely get it. I genuinely completely get it. But why can't season 2 be that reboot? It's like what was the other example I referenced? Game of Thrones. Seasons 1 through 6, really good. I think it's more or less universally accepted that season 8 was not good. But people still love seasons 1 through 6 or 1 through 7, even though 8 was kind of a nah. Well, if season 1 for you was nah, why can't season 2 be? You know, I don't know. There's definitely something about the trailer, isn't there? I mean, the glassing, and seeing the ships rising through the clouds. Oh my god. It's intense. I'm optimistic. I'm very optimistic that season 2 is going to be a big shift. I mean, Pablo's on board as like executive producer now for it as well, as I recall. They kind of went, as far as I can tell, they've almost finished production. Then like The Last of Us was released, and then they kind of almost went back into production and only just finished in September. So yeah, it seems like they're doing everything right this time, and it would be a perfect time. Like, everyone loves a good redemption story. It would be the perfect time for this to hit the right note, because Halo Infinite is in the best shape it's been since launch. It's like season 5, the firefight, King of the Hill, that's just come out. phenomenal. Halo's in a really strong place game-wise at the moment. Halo Infinite is in a really strong place. The MCC is getting huge mod support. It's getting huge like cut content support is being brought back into it, and this and this. So MMC is in a fantastic place. MCC rather is in a fantastic place. It would be fantastic if the Halo TV show could triple up on it and become the third awesome thing that's going on right now. If that can line up, Halo's future is bright. Seriously bright if we can get that to line up. And ultimately, isn't that what we all want? I mean, I know, again, and I've heard this saying a lot, there's a saying that I've heard amongst the community that no one hates Halo more than a Halo fan. Ultimately, we just want the franchise to do well, do we not? Well, I mean, we're all here because we love Halo. I do this job. I make content because I love Halo, and I've loved it since the first time I picked up the controller in my local game shop on the original Xbox console and played the Silent Cartographer as kind of the demo level. I've loved it since then, since 2001. I've read all of the books. I've played all of the games. I've consumed all of the additional media, some of the live action stuff, like Forward Unto Dawn and Landfall and the Fall of Reach animated movie. Nightfall. I've literally live, breathe, and eat Halo. And I want it to do well. We all want it to do well. It's our franchise. It's what we're here for. We all want it to do well, and Infinite's doing great. MCC's doing great. If the TV show can do great, I mean, that opens Halo to like a mass market, and I mean, it could go from strength to strength to strength. We may, if it goes in the right direction. Again, this might just be like hugely optimistic, but I am a natural optimist, sort of by nature. If it goes in the right direction, we might finally get a full-length feature film, or like a series of films covering Halo. I mean, that was originally supposed to be done years ago with like Weta Studios and they made warhogs and weapons and stuff that they reappropriated for District 9, was it? The Neil Blomkamp movie? Yeah, District 9 I think it was. I mean, yeah, we could have had that years ago. And that's the thing. The TV show started development in 2010. Probably wouldn't have been a great time for the TV show to come out, to be fair. But for season 2 to come out now, while Infinite's doing so well, and while it's so high in the game rankings on like Xbox and Steam, it can only bode well, can't it? We just want our franchise to do well. We just want it to be prosperous and to grow. So I'm all for season 2. Genuinely all for season 2. I'm the visuals, the tone they've struck, the grittiness, the sacrifice. Yeah, I'm really positive for season 2. Anyway, I completely waylaid. Sorry. Yeah, so we did the live reaction. This is all over the place. I'm really sorry. I'm not with it at the moment with regards to like moving and everything. It's just I'm trying. I apologise. This is not the usual quality of content I insist on achieving. Yeah, so we did the live reaction, and then that was shortly after that. That was when it was planned for like Pablo and Joseph and Kiki to be there to present this, to present the achievements at the Paramount booth, but unfortunately was due to security concerns was called off. And then initially, I actually had my flight brought forward a day to the Saturday. That very day that the trailer was the teaser. Sorry, I keep saying trailer. The teaser was revealed, and initially I had my flight brought forward to Saturday because I didn't figure I wouldn't really be needed on the Sunday. So I thought, okay, well I'll go home a day early because I've got a house move looming over me. I actually signed the contracts for the new place while I was in Brazil. So yeah, I planned to come home to come home a day sooner. I went to the airport. It was like an hour journey in an Uber to the airport. I got there and there was some problems with checking in, like the automated check-in. So I had to go to an actual counter to check in, which had a 45-minute queue. Not ideal. I got to the front of the queue and they were convinced I was going home the following day, my originally planned return day. And I was like, no, this was brought forward. Bearing in mind, I'm talking to the person through fractured English, because they don't speak English. They only speak Brazilian Portuguese. So really struggling to kind of get across the changes. I'm showing them like my app and my boarding pass, everything that says I'm going on the Saturday, and they're like, yeah, but our system's saying Sunday. I don't know what you want us to do. And eventually she directs me to go and talk to the LATAM bookings people, where you can get a ticket. So I went to speak to them. I showed them everything. They went, no, you're on today's flight. There should be no problem. So they brought me back over to the machine, tried to do it, didn't work. Skipped the line to the front and spoke to a colleague at the check-in desk again. They couldn't do it. They were throwing things back and forth, and then they finally figured out, the booking wasn't finalised. It wasn't finalised, and then it sort of, I don't know exactly the phrasing they used for it, but the booking wasn't finalised and wasn't like added onto the itinerary for that day's flight. So we just need to do that. Once they figured that bit out, the flight had finished boarding and the doors had closed. At which point they were like, we're really sorry, flight's departed. Then I'm just stood there at the airport like, okay, great, I've checked out of my hotel. I'm at the airport after an hour's car ride and I'm not on the flight home. Now what? So a little bit of a scramble around. The guys in Brazil who got me out there in the first place pulled some strings, got my room opened up again, back in an Uber, back to the hotel, had a shower, slept, woke up on Sunday, the originally planned return day, and decided, okay, I'm not going to waste the day. I'm going to edit some videos. I'm going to work with Simon. Maybe we'll pop into the expo again, have a little last look around before we go. And then I'll come back to the hotel, get my bags, check out, hop in an Uber, go to the airport, and I'll go. During that process, I decided to kind of... There's this cool little feature that LATAM Airlines have where you can kind of bid for an upgrade. I don't know if other airlines do this, but you can bid for an upgrade. So you basically put forward like a kind of amount of money you'd be willing to pay to upgrade your seat. And I thought, you know what, I could do with a decent night's sleep on the flight home, because it takes off at like midnight. And doesn't land in the UK until like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I could do with like a decent amount of sleep. I never sleep well on flights anyway, but I thought, just give it a go. So I put a bid in, expecting completely for it to be like, no, that's not enough. I got it. I got the upgrade. So I boarded the flight. I returned to the airport, boarded the flight. Sat in my seat, put my stuff away and everything else, and sort of kind of started getting comfortable. And a guy walks on who I recognise, and I think, who's that? I know the face from somewhere. Charlie Hunnam. I think I pronounced that second name right. Sons of Anarchy, the gentleman. Yeah, Charlie. He just because he was at CCXP promoting. What was it? Is it Red Moon? Or Red Luna? Bear with. Red Moon Rising. Yes. He was promoting that. And he sits in the booth next to me. And we sort of just get chatting, and a really nice guy, really nice to talk to. Just spoke about sort of our work and life and where we live and what we like to do. And yeah, just nice casual chat with some famous actor of all things, and eventually, like, I'm getting tired. I'm just like, it's like 1 a.m. local time. I'm like, we've already taken off. We're at cruising altitude. I recline the chair, go to sleep, wake up several hours later, a couple of hours from landing, and yeah, touchdown in Heathrow. Say bye to Charlie, of all people. Okay, weird. And go on my way and close an absolute and utter whirlwind of a few days in Sao Paulo, Brazil. what the hell? And like I say, I mean, I've got um, so much going on in my private life. You know, the car failing, the new car that I bought to replace it being damaged, the having the house, you know, sort of having the house, the landlord take repossession of the house, trying to find a new place, just chaos. But this opportunity presented itself, and I just weighed it up, and I thought, God, is this too good to miss? Is it too much of a good opportunity to miss? And yeah, I couldn't say no. I really couldn't. And although I am well and truly knackered, and I've still got so much ahead of myself that I need to work through and to sort out. I'm not getting rest anytime soon. It was so worth it, so worth it, and I'm truly excited for what season 2 might hold. Again, solely going off of what the teaser shows, that gritty tone seems to be shining through the heroicism of the Spartans, and the fall of Reach evidently looks fantastic, and the Spartan 3s are there, and I've got a few other suspicions about what's going on as well, but I'll cover that in upcoming content. But yeah, just whirlwind, absolute and utter whirlwind. And like I say, I mean, you know, season 1, love it or hate it, I completely get it. You know, everyone's entitled to either enjoy it or not enjoy it, to watch it or not to watch it. I completely get it. But if there's one thing I could say as just a genuine Halo fan, if there's one thing I could say to anybody who really just did not like season 1, I get it. I do. I really do. But just watch the teaser and try to put season 1 out of your mind. That's not what season 2's trailer is about. Put season 1 out of your mind. Watch the season 2 trailer with an open mind and an open heart to like what could be, and just give it a chance. You might watch the teaser and think, no, still not for me. Cool, it's fine. But as a Halo fan to another Halo fan, just give it a go, because if they hit this right, if they live up to what is arguably a very high bar, it is a hugely high bar. If they can live up to that, and the teaser seems to indicate there's a chance that they might, if they can live up to that, that can only bode well for the franchise, and that can only bode well for our favourite game, because it will expand it, and it will become the cult phenomenon it once was all over again, if we can hit that tone. So, yeah, just that's my honest, unbiased thoughts. Genuinely honest, unbiased thoughts. I wasn't invited out and given a script, so to speak, and said, you've got to say this. You can't slate the shit. You can't say this. You can't say that. You have to say this. And bollocks. Never ever came into it. It was come out, see what we got, give us your opinions. That was literally the long and short of it. And I did, and I have here. I've said, you know, there were parts of season 1 I just didn't get, really just didn't get. Parts of season 1 I don't understand why some creative choices were made, but I do kind of understand the chaos that was going through at the time for the development of season 1. It's, you know, it's I think it was originally conceived 2010. There's a lot of corporate oversight from Microsoft on what can and can't be used in the IP, and they went through God knows how many scripts and COVID and everything else. And it went through two different showrunners, maybe more, several different writers. I get why there were problems. Season 1 had its issues. It did. I liked it on the whole. I liked the kind of what if take on things, but putting that aside, season 2. I don't know. I just got a good feeling about it. I think that's honestly all I can chalk up to. I've got a good feeling about it, and if it can do well, if it can perform well, it's good for the franchise, and it's good for us. I don't know. That's just, you know, my thoughts. I've talked for far too long. And I've completely and utterly ignored you guys. Hello. I love your vids. I was very disappointed in season 1 because I felt like it wasn't really Halo. It felt like a new sci-fi series that was just using Halo for its name and world. Fair enough. Yeah, fair enough. I can get that. I can understand. I can empathise with that. Yeah, absolutely. There were some tonal shifts that were jarring. There were. Again, I mean, I quite enjoyed season 1 for what it was, for the what kind of what if scenario. But I can get that. Yeah. I'll never support or watch the Halo show. It's not canon, diverted too far from what makes Halo Halo. I would never get a canon Halo movie or show due to the current Halo show. Fair comment. Fair comment. Yeah. I mean, again, no one can predict what season 2 is going to be because no one knows. So yeah, season 1, diverted from canon, had its own timeline, completely its own timeline, which I believe was the only kind of way that they could justify and rectify like the kind of corporate oversight of keeping like the game sovereign, so to speak, to the show. Excuse me, I've got apologies. But yeah, it did divert from canon. Quite, I mean, like I said, my view of it is that it was like a what if it did the polar opposite. Like Halsey particularly did the polar opposite of what she did in the books. So yeah, I get it. I do. Season 2 might just be that little bit more quintessentially Halo, so to speak. That was only one, so I've got the tankard in the other. Sorry. So I don't know. It's no one knows. No one knows. How goes Project Mjolnir? Good. Obviously we've got the finished Mjolnir helmet here. That is being moved tomorrow, but it is not going on the removal van. That is staying with me. That is £28,000. £28,000? Yes, 28,000, or is it dollars? No, it's £28,000 because it was like $30-something thousand. Yeah, that's £28,000 worth of investment. Obviously, were it not for like our sponsors, because I mean that they helped like with the 3D printing of the titanium shell for that, and that's expensive as hell. But yeah, that's version 1 helmet right there. Version 2's on the way. It looks fantastic. And we got the first stage exoframe to test out the leg range of motion. And that thing moves around like it's made of rubber. It's ridiculous. We're going to slim it up, refine it, and everything like that. So that's great. And the BDU, I got loads of updates on the BDU, and I need to cover them. I'm sorry. There is stuff coming on the BDU. Bear with me. I'll get it out to you. So yeah, Project Mjolnir is going. The ODST helmet here got a composite ODST shell. That's a composite of Kevlar, ultra high molecular weight ultra high molecular weight polyethylene, and a composite plastic to hold it all together. So that composite ODST helmet, got to have all the electronics and everything else put into it. So ODST is on the way. So yeah, things are going. I will never support non-canon Halo media. I already pre-ordered the new Halo book, Epitaph. I'm looking forward to Epitaph. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm interested to see how Didact's story kind of not finishes. I don't want Didact's story to finish. Otherwise he's just kind of a one and gone kind of guy, and that's not what he should be. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. Everything deserves its chance at redemption. Absolutely. Who doesn't love a good redemption story? Yeah. Morbid curiosity about how they revert Master Chief from being a meat suit for Cortana to being conscious and sentient. Yes, I'm interested about that as well. Yeah, because obviously at the very end of season 1, kind of Chief, as far as we are aware, flatlined. I mean, it's not this is a weird sentence to say. It's not unusual for Spartans to flatline, be clinically dead, and then come back. Linda's done it. Spartans do it a lot. Yeah. That's a really weird sentence to say out loud. But yeah, Chief flatlined. he, by definition, he was classed as clinically dead. And yeah, you're right, Cortana took over. As far as I'm aware, at least as I recall on the panel that Pablo and Joseph was on, Pablo said that some time has passed since the end of season 1. I don't know how much time. I don't know if we're talking like 6 months or 6 years. I mean, again, it's hard to say because obviously the laws don't, the law of the silver timeline and the law of the gold timeline don't line up perfectly well. Like Madrigal fell earlier on in the war, as far as I can recall. Let me check on that. Sorry, bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Colonized in 2458. Yeah, 2535. So 2535 was when Madrigal fell in the gold timeline. I'm pretty sure that wasn't the year that was kind of said in the silver timeline, but yeah, I don't know if it's like a few months have passed or a couple of years or what, but how are they going to rectify Chief being dead and then being alive again? I don't know. Maybe along similar lines to how Linda was clinically dead and then was brought back by being shoved into cryo and given like flash cloned organs and this, that, and the other, and brought her back that way. Maybe they're going to use something similar. I don't know. The medical science in the 26th century is pretty immense. But yeah, I'd be interested to see how they're going to rectify that. Again, memory cropping up. I remember Pablo saying that on the panel that we'll find out what happened and how it happened from season 1 to season 2 as season 2 continues. So every now and then will kind of threads of narrative will join up and make sense somehow. I don't know. An impossible situation to be in. I don't envy the new writers. I don't either. I mean, you got to think like, so again, like it evidently went through a development hell, season 1, and I'm pretty sure any member of the cast or crew will say exactly that. That season 1 went through a development hell, and season 2 they're evidently trying to shift things around to almost rebrand, so to speak, or just realign with the sentiment, so to speak, of it. But you got to think like the new writers that are on board, the new showrunner, the new director, the new cast members, the new crew members, even the returning cast and crew members. So like, I mean, Pablo, for example, I mean, he is the face of the Halo TV show. He stepped into the armor of the most recognized game character in history. That's not overselling it. I think we can agree Master Chief is a ridiculously iconic character at this point. He is recognized the world over. To be stepping into that role, and especially, like I say, especially with the reputation that season 1 kind of unfortunately has, that's got to be a hell of a burden to carry. To think to yourself, not only am I responsible for playing this character that people have connected with for decades, but I've got to reinvent this character to kind of somewhat make it my own, to make it new and appealing, but still old and nostalgic and recognizable. I have to do this off of the back of the development hell that was season 1. I have to I have to work that much harder to pull people back in and earn their trust again for season 2. Just as a human being, that must be like an immense struggle and strain to carry, like on your shoulder. That I can't imagine how much that must weigh on him as a person. This is along lines of the kind of questions I want to ask him when I get the chance to sit down and have an interview with him. It must weigh on him. It must be a hell of a burden, and I completely sympathise. That must be pretty intense to carry that kind of weight, and to know that there are so that I'm sure I can say this relatively safely in saying that we as Halo fans don't innately hate Halo. We just want it to do well. We want our favourite franchise to do well. And it must weigh on him to know that he has a huge community of fans, both young and have grown up with Halo for since they were kids and passed it, so to speak, down to their kids. There's this huge community, this huge following of Halo that want it to do well, that are willing it to do well, and it just didn't strike those right tones and right notes in season 1, and the fight, it must be that much harder to earn it back, and it has to. Sure, you're a human being, you have to feel that, surely, from time to time. There must be moments where I know I would, if I was in Pablo's shoes and I was carrying that kind of weight on my shoulders, there would be times where I would be almost crippled with the realization of what I'm carrying, So I mean, he and the whole team, the whole crew, the whole cast of are carrying this burden. And like I say again, if they can pull off those tones that were very clearly shining through in the season 2 teaser, if they can pull that off for season 2 as a whole, they deserve an immense amount of respect to be able to stick with it, and to see it through, hopefully, to a fantastic position again. I mean, I'm not entirely sure I have the strength of character to do what they've done, and I mean, I really hope that it really comes through, because it will be good, not just for them. It will be fantastic and rewarding for them, but it will be immensely rewarding for us as a community to finally have Halo out there in the world again, in the center of public perception, like it was back in Halo 3 days, when Halo 3's launch, it was everywhere. Halo was everywhere. Everyone knew about Halo, and unfortunately, since around that time, Halo's had this steady decline. And if we can just get back up to that point, I don't know. I think I'm just off on one now. I don't know. Optimism, I think, is a thing to take away from today's stream. Optimism in the face of adversity. I've got so much left to do. If the show had been a retelling of the Fall of Reach, they could have answered some questions about the Spartan Red team protecting the orbital defense generators. Yes. I've got a suspicion. I think I've already put it on. No, I shouldn't talk about that here. That will come in my big detailed breakdown, because if I do it now, then I'll ruin it. That's coming in my big breakdown of the teaser, where I go scene by scene and really shred into it. Yeah, I don't want to ruin it. I nearly ruined it then. The actor for the Forward Unto Dawn Halo movie did a better job than the Master Chief than Pablo in the show. Oh yeah, sorry. Well, I brain fired then. I thought you meant the actor of Lasky. Sorry. Yes. I don't know. No, I. That was the quintessential game Master Chief. Man of few words, a man of action, so to speak. Yeah, but again, I've got hope that the season 2 Master Chief is going to be that much more on point, that much more fleshed out. I don't know. We'll see, won't we? Ultimately, God, I feel like I've just rambled for an hour and a half. Is that come across? Does it feel like a ramble, or does it actually feel to a degree like there's been some semblance of structure to this? Good Lord. I don't know. Yeah. Again, optimism in the face of adversity. Yeah. I mean, again, I have to extend my thanks to Paramount Plus for like reaching out in the first place and like offering this trip out to Sao Paulo, to CCXP. I have to thank them because it was an awesome trip, an awesome experience. Just inviting me out and saying, hey, come and see what we've got. Do your thing. Tell us what you think. That's and phenomenal. That's what I think. The guys you had there, the staff members that were dressed up as soldiers, actually on it. Oops, I keep slapping my microphone. The soldiers that were on the booth, fantastic. Some of the people that were like there was an actress there who was kind of dressed up like Miranda Keyes from the TV show, so like the kind of scientist-esque Miranda Keyes. She was fantastic. The cosplayers that were there, so we had Kai. Kai's armor looked fantastic. We had the Halo TV show Master Chief. He was fantastic. He's on Instagram. And then we had like a Halo 4-esque armor Master Chief as well. He looked great. Fantastic energy sword as well. They were all great. They were all so nice, so great to talk to. Really made the whole thing feel alive, And the activities they had set up for the fans and the photo shoots and the opportunities and it was awesome. It was awesome. That's my honest and unbiased opinion on it. If you ever have the chance to attend something like CCXP, especially if there is something there for Halo, if you get the opportunity, do it. Truly do it. It's busy as hell. Like I say, CCXP is the biggest Comic-Con in the world. It's one thing going to like HCS or another Comic-Con, or PAX or something like that. It's one thing going to something like that. CCXP is an entirely different beast. It is like chaotic in the best way. So if you get the chance, do it. It's like I say, especially if there's something for Halo there. And I hope, again, optimism shining through, I hope that Season 2 hits those notes and becomes successful. Because if it does, we get a Season 3. And if we get a Season 3, Halo might appear at another CCXP or another big Comic-Con, or it might just grow again, and the profile, so to speak, of Halo grow to a point where it kind of reclaims some of that gloriousness that it had way back when. I just want Halo to do well. I just want it to do well. Call it a structured ramble. That's exactly what this has been, a structured ramble. I've got so much packing to do still, and so much stuff that I need to get sorted. I'm moving tomorrow at 10 a.m. and it's 8:30 in the evening here. So literally in like 11 and a half hours, I'll be moving house, and I've got to sleep at some point between now and then. Good Lord. So again, I big thank you to Paramount Plus for the awesome experience and for flying me out and letting me have a look around and talk about stuff. Thank you to all of you guys who have jumped in this evening, kind of on this impromptu, unstructured ramble, semi-structured ramble, as I've just sort of offloaded my experience. No script, no kind of prior thinking about it, just kind of word vomited in a relatively bare set, so there's nothing really interesting to look at except my face like rambling down the camera at you. So thank you to all of you guys for joining me. We all want Halo to do well. Damn right we do. We all do. I'll touch base with all of you guys very, very soon. I say moving, give me a few days to get set up. 11 out of 10 face would look again. That's nice. Thanks for that. I like that. So give me a few days. Let me get set up the other end, and I'll touch base with you guys again soon. And like I said, the normal content will resume in due course. Again, thanks so much, everyone. Take it easy, everyone, and Find peace in the domain.